Today marks exactly 2 years since Pennsylvania learned about its first 2 cases of COVID-19. And since then, the world has gone on quite a journey. 69 News reporter Hannah O'Reilly takes a look at where we started with the pandemic and where we are now.
Coronavirus has made its way to Pennsylvania.
COVID-19.
COVID-19. COVID-19.
COVID-19.
Exactly 2 years ago, the tumultuous journey through COVID-19 began. March 6, 2020 is a day Pennsylvania residents will never forget. It's the day the state found out about the first 2 cases of COVID-19.
We received confirmation of 2 presumed, and I emphasize the word presumed, positive cases of COVID-19.
That same day, Governor Wolf signed a disaster declaration. 10 days following the first 2 cases, schools started to close. On March 18th, we had the first COVID death in Pennsylvania. From March 6, 2020 to now, the events that would happen in between would rock the world forever. Numbers grew, businesses started shutting down, and the death toll started to rise. But today, in March 2022, things are starting to look different. While COVID still exists and the health department continues to release updates on numbers, the CDC has acknowledged the strides we've made over the last 2 years. We now have 3 COVID-19 vaccines. In Pennsylvania, 8.6 million people are fully vaccinated. In the U.S., 215 million people. And because of this, the CDC recently relaxed its mask guidelines for the country after finding that nearly 70% of the U.S. population lives in areas that are considered to be low or medium risk. The national unemployment rate has gone from 15% in the first few months of COVID to around 4% today. Schools have allowed students back for in-person learning. Sporting events and concerts have returned. So from March 6, 2020, leading up to today, the world may look different than we once knew. But the CEO of Moderna says the U.S. is believed to be transitioning into an endemic phase after this period of dropping case counts, hospitalizations, and deaths. Hannah O'Reilly, 69 News.
Fire causes heavy damage to a home in Tamaqua, Schuylkill County. It broke out around 11 last night in the 100 block of Mahanoy Street. Crews at the scene say there were initial reports of possible entrapment, but everyone was able to get out okay. Fire departments from neighboring communities assisted as well. No word yet on exactly what caused that fire. One person was rushed to the hospital following a rollover crash in West Penn Township, Schuylkill County. It happened around 4 this morning at Route 443 and Spring Road. Crews at the scene say the car went off the road, crashed into a utility pole, and flipped over. Emergency crews freed the driver from the wreckage. He was taken to the hospital, but there's no word on his condition right now. Police are continuing to investigate that crash. There's more to come on 69 News Weekend Edition this Sunday night. Deadly tornadoes tear through central Iowa. We'll have that story coming up. Plus, we're going to recap this week's top stories in the 69 News Weekend Review. Clayton is working on your work week forecast.
Yeah, Dade, it seems like we've jumped right into May here. We've got some very much spring-like warmth in place across the eastern half of the country right now. We reached 70 degrees today, and I think we've got a good shot at that tomorrow again. Challenging record highs, but we're also following this storm system to our west, bringing some rain. We'll time it out when it gets here and see how much we can expect coming up.